Hello everyone, I hope you're all doing well and had a great day. So welcome to our today's class. I remember I gave some assignments yesterday, so probably I can just start with what I did yesterday, and then if anybody's having a question you can go ahead and ask. I just redo quickly a short process of how to do the ER diagram we created yesterday. But before that, we have been creating our queries, but we haven't saved yet. Maybe probably I haven't showed you how to save. You realize you don't lose your data while saving, but one time in a session when you're opening SQL, you might open and realize your data is gone. The SQL queries is gone because you haven't saved it in your computer. They're just saved temporarily here. So if anytime your SQL gets corrupted, it loses the data unless you redo it again. Yeah, so to save your SQL, for example, the first SQL query tab we're having here, yeah, you can go ahead and click save down here, whereby it says save the SQL, save the script. So if I click on save, it takes me to my computer. So I should choose where or which location I want to save my work. For example, in my case here, I'll just save it here, and then I'm giving it a name. Probably I can just call it creating databases. Yeah, and then I click on save. You can see it changed here, creating databases, the title, and you can also access it through your computer. Remember what we said yesterday. Now that you have saved it, it is in your computer, it exists as an SQL script file since it's saved. So any case or anytime I would ever wish to use these codes, so once I close this, let me just close here. I'll just close it using the X button sign besides it. So I have closed the file. I can't go ahead and open it through by looking its location, then double clicking on it. In most cases it will open, as we saw yesterday, it will open as an unconnected file. So to open it, you just open it as an SQL script. So I'll go here, that's the second tab where it says open SQL script file. I'll click there. I locate the file, the creating databases file. It's an SQL file, and here it is. I select on it and then open, and then it's open with all the codes in it. Yeah, so you can click on this save button. As far as, for example, I can't click when I'm at create databases because I've already saved this, unless now I go to file 5 and then I click on save. Go to SQL file 1, click on save. The other option is going to file tab, then you'll see all the tabs for saving. For example, we have save script or save script as. So you can use either of these save tabs, whereby you can just save or save as. Yeah, so let me probably save the second file where we created more tables. Yeah, and inserting. So I'll click on file, I'll click on save as or save or save as. It takes me to my computer here. If you're not okay with the location currently, of course you can change. So, and then you give it a name. Yeah, so let's say creating tables. Creating tables. So once that's done, you can go ahead and click save. Yeah, and now it's saved as creating tables in your computer, and you can always access it, as I've said, by going to open SQL file script and you locate it in your machine and open it. Yeah, so I hope you're able to save your SQL scripts, all of them. Of course, you can change position. For example, probably I want to work with under SQL file 5, other than it being just in the middle of between employees and create databases. I'll move it, I'll just hold and drag it to the end and then drop it there. So that's the last option file that I'm working on. Yeah, that's on saving. We're supposed to go through the process of creating an ER diagram, and we said this helps us identify the relationship between tables. Yeah, so to do so, you go into databases. We are using the database that we shared yesterday, the employee database. Of course, to import or to open the data, we said you're opening it just the way you have seen. We have opened our create databases table. You click on SQL script, open SQL script, and then you locate it, now the employee database. And then once it's open, you run it with the first run execute button, so that you run everything. Yeah, because you see the second execute button is for running a row or a line at a time. Yeah, so to create an ER diagram, so you click on database, reverse engineer. Once you
coming in late, but would you kindly do a recap on the table that you were creating?
I wasn't creating a table. I was just showing you how to save your work.
Okay.
And we have said you can, for example, I'm under file 5. If I click on save, it will save file 5. If I want to save any other file, I must be under that file. And that's when we're using this save button here. So you can just click on it. It takes you to a computer. You choose the best location you want to save your work. Then you give it a name. Then you click on save. Yeah, or you can just go to file, you have save and save as. Yeah, you can use either of these, and should take you through the same process, whereby you under your computer, you look the best location you want to save your work, then you give it a name. The only thing that you should consider is that if I want to save file 5, I should be under file 5. If I want to save this database, I should be under this area of commands. Yeah, that's the case. So that we were talking about saving our work.
Alright, thank you.
Yeah, so I wanted to do a recap of how we did the ER diagram. So you go to database, we have reverse engineer option. It opens the SQL model process. Here the first thing we choose is the stored connection. Yeah, where are we storing? For example, we learned how to create different connection, so you make sure you choose the current connection that you are working on. You can see mine is root, and the same it is here, just next to the icon, home icon. The same case here. Once that's done, you click on next. Once the execution is complete, you click on next. On the select schema or to reverse engineer, you choose the database that you want to create ER diagram with. In this case, we're having employees, so you check the box before it, you click on next. The retrieval was completed successfully. Click on next. And here what we are looking for is that we want to work with the tables. Yeah, we have two areas here. For example, we have import MySQL table objects and import MySQL view object. We don't want to import the view, we want the tables. So you can just uncheck import MySQL view object. Make sure here the information is 6 objects and all of them are selected. How we said to select or to unselect tables, we have the show filter tab here. Then you'll have two boxes, the first one containing all the files that are within your object, and then you can move either of the tables to this area if you want to exclude them. Yeah, if you want to exclude them. So for example, I'll click on department, I'll move it with this greater than sign button here, the first button. Yeah, and you can see now we're having 6 total object, 5 selected because I've removed one. I can take it back, I'll just select on it and now move it using the less than button. That's the second option. I've taken it back here and we're having a total of 6 objects, 6 selected. At times you may have a long list of tables involved and probably you just need, let's say, 5. You can move all the objects into this place and then you select one by one the one that you want. So I'll click the greater than button, the double of them. It moves everything to the left. It excludes everything. So with that you're able to select, let's say, one table at a time and move it to the right side. Yeah, depending on the number of tables you want to work with. Otherwise we have the double less than button, which moves all the objects from this area to the next. So I'll do that and I have all my tables back. You can see we have 6 total objects, 6 selected. Once that's done, you click execute. Just wait for the operation to be complete. As you can see, it's complete. Operation completed successfully. I'll just click next. And the last message is summary of the reverse engineer object, whereby you're told that 6 objects from the schema employees are involved. So I just click on finish. I'll just scroll down and as you can see we have our tables, all of them, the 6 of them, and how they are related. That's the ER diagram. So to go back to where our command lines are, you just click on the name of the connection. Probably you're using local instance, you can see it up here. In my case I'm using a connection known as root, so I click on it so that I go back to my command area. So a question, did anybody had an issue on the work I gave out yesterday? Or maybe something you want us to revisit before we continue on what we did cover yesterday? Okay. I hope we are all good. So we did learn how to use SQL clauses, yeah, and the clauses that we learned how to use are the SQL group by function, having, and order by. Okay, we didn't go ahead and use them, the order by and the having. So I'm just going to execute a command whereby we're able to use maybe all of them, or we can go ahead and use the function having. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to extract the average salary. Remember we said that when you're using the group by, that means you're having an aggregate somewhere, and in case you run a command with an aggregate, when I talk about aggregate, something like average, sum of sum, we have count, maximum, minimum, and so on. Whenever you have such a function within your command line and you exclude group by, you'll get an error. Yeah, so it's always good whenever you are using the aggregate function, you also learn that the group by function is very important. So I'll be selecting employee number and the salary, in this case the average salary, and then I'll be selecting all the salaries that are greater than, let's say, 100,000. Yeah, and then we're going to order in ascending. So our condition here is that we want all the salary that are greater than 100,000. Yeah, we have a case whereby we use the where clause. We used it previously. We're going to also continue using it, but when you want to give a condition with the group by, the halving is the one used for sorting. Yeah. Okay, Sandra. It's okay. So as I was saying, we are extracting employee number, average salary, and then we're going to add a condition whereby we want all the average that are greater than 100,000. So let's extract that. I run the select function. Sorry. Select employee number. Of course, you can always, let me just expand on employee, and remember we didn't run the command use employees table, so you can either double click on it as well so that you can make it bold as we earlier said. So I've expanded employee, and then the tables so that I can have a list of tables. I just want to make sure that I know how the name is written, so I'll just click on salaries table, and then you can see employees written emp underscore number. That's for employee number, and that's what I should type. Yeah, so we have emp underscore number, then I add a comma. I want to work with average salary, so I'll use avg, average keyword here for average. Open the brackets and then the column you're averaging. In this case, I want to average the salary column. Okay, let me just click once again on the salaries area. So we have salary. So I'll just make sure I type the right name. Sorry. Salary, I enclose it, then once I specify what I'm looking for, that's the average salary, I can go ahead and give it a name. Remember how we did as we gave our column name count for the count of first names. That's the same case we're going to be doing here, so that we don't have our column name as average salary. So I'll use the function as and give it a name, just that the name should have an underscore if it's a two-word name, otherwise you can just write it. So I'll have avg underscore salary for average salary, that will be the column name for the output of average salaries. Yeah, then from where am I getting this data from? As you can see, of course, it's from the salaries table. So I'm having salaries table for TABL, so I can just select that. I'll add more condition, like I want to group by, because we said you can't have average or aggregate function without a group by, so we need a group by function. And of course, the other thing that we mentioned about group by, you can group by a column that was not selected. Yeah, so you either group by employee number or group by average salary. So let's group by employee number. For COLN, for column, employee number. Another condition we're going to be using is having. Having, we're going to use it because we want only the salary that have been averaged and it's greater than 100,000, as I said. Yeah, 100,000. So we have the having function. Having function can be used alone, but whenever you're having group by, it comes after the group by function. Yeah, so we have having function. Having, sometimes when you type, for example, this column name you've created, because you want to average where column name is, this average salary is greater than 100,000. Sometimes you may get an error because this table is not yet created. Yeah, so you may be required to average work with a condition whereby you're using AVG salary to refer to this column here. So I'll just use the same, whereby I'll type AVG average salary, just the way I wrote it earlier on. Average salary, having average salary greater than 100,000. Yeah, so we are filtering our data, whereby we are going to get the output of averaged salary that is greater than 100,000. Yeah, 100,000. Then you can add our last condition, group by. How do you want to group by? We said you can group by ascending, group by descending. Yeah, so group by, let's group according to our employee number. By default, everything is grouped in ascending. Yeah, so probably you want to see the output in descending, so you have to specify group by. Of course you can work, okay, let's just run the output without the group by function so that we see the output prior to that. So I'm selecting employee number, average salary, and the average salary will be having the column name AVG underscore salary from the salaries table. Then I'm grouping by employee number. Remember we said you group by any aggregated column. Anytime you have aggregated column, you're going to use group by function, otherwise you'll get an error. Then we are specifying that we want all the average salary greater than 100,000. And I've said the reason I used average salary is because the column name AVG underscore salary is not yet created. Sometimes you can use the created name, or the most recommended is this, so that you don't encounter an error. So I'm just filtering out the data that are greater than 100,000 for this column according to the averaged salary column. So let me execute that. We're executing using the second execute button. So this is the output. We are having the first person according to their employee ID is having 101, because we have said we want only those greater than 100,000. Yeah, and you can see our employee number are from the lowest, and it increases. We have 100, 101, 102, 103, and so on. Yeah, So I wanted to add, for example, if you don't want the work to be in ascending order, that just the way it is by default, you want the descending order. That's why you go ahead and use the order by function. Order by, and we want to order by employee number, so m underscore number descending, DESC. Yeah, then you add the semicolon. Okay, let's try and beautify our work here. So I'll just select the column and then click on beautifier here, so that you can have a better look of our query area. As you can see, our query begins here. We are selecting employee number, the average salary as, this is the column name. From salaries, we are grouping according to employee number, and then having salary greater than 100,000. So anybody whose average salary is lower than 100,000, they are filtered out. Then we order by employee number descending. Let me execute that. This is the output. We are having employee number, then we are having our averaged salary as AVG salary, the column name. If you don't add the as average salary function, your column name will be AVG into bracket salary. Yeah, it will be like a function, the column name, where we're having AVG underscore salary. That's why we're using the as function. Then group by employee number. We say that's a necessity when you are working with aggregate values. Then we have having to filter out a person's average salary that are less than 100,000, and lastly we are ordering according to descending. So you can see we started by 201. We go 201. We have 200. Yeah. Then you go to 109. Yeah. So you're starting from the highest employee number to the lowest. Is anybody having a question on that? Maybe on having, because it's the one that we didn't use earlier. Okay, I hope we are all good at that.
Hello.
Yes.
Lucy?
Yes.
I'm trying to think, maybe to think about grouping by when you're doing when you're trying to arrange it in ascending or descending order. If I wanted to know the employee numbers who have the lowest, that is though from 10,000, but the lowest, not 10,001 definitely, but the lowest. So am I going to use the average salary, which is the new column in our executed, or let me say the output, or am I going to use the average salary, because I'm still trying to fetch the information from that given column. So am I going to select to use the new column that I've created, or the average function, let me say method?
Okay, you're talking about where I'm having the having function, or when you want to group by the yes.
No, just below. Okay, the last statement, line 13. The order by in your case, you actually wanted to order the employee numbers in descending order, right? But in this case, I wanted to arrange the salary itself. The person from 10,001, the person who has the lowest to the highest. You get, or the highest to the lowest.
Yes, you're going to use order by the average. So you're asking whether you're supposed to use this average function or the average name.
Absolutely.
Okay. Sometimes you may encounter an error when using the name because it's not yet created. Otherwise, you can go ahead and use it. It might not affect really your work. You'll get still the output. But in some situations, you must use this. The average salary column name might give you an error. It tells you it doesn't exist since it is not created. But at times you're going to get the output as the same. So yeah, did I answer your question? Hello, Chacha.
Yes, you did answer, but sometimes it's giving me a headache, because the reason I asked is because in this case I'm having a new column.
Yes.
So why can't I use the new column? Because it's being created. In the process, it's going to be created. Actually, it is the first one that is going to be executed.
Yes.
Because the code is going to run from the top to
Yeah.
the bottom, executing line by line going.
Yeah.
So before it reaches to arranging in ascending or descending order.
Okay, I'm getting your
already have
question.
executed that line of code.
Okay, I'm getting your question. What I'm saying, you can use it, but anytime you execute using it and have an error, you will always come back to this, because at times we use it and it works. Yeah, at other times we go ahead and use this because it gets an error that this column name does not exist. That's why I'm saying at times, because under execution process, that's why I realized that previously we have been using the column name because it's already created. Yeah, but just in case you encounter an error, always come back to the average function. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. I actually tried to, it's not accepting, it was giving me an error, but thank you.
Okay, what if you are you getting the output using the second one, the first one?
I'm using the new column name.
Okay, can you exchange the first column name with the function area?
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. I wanted to mention something as we continue. For example, you realize in our function output, let me just run it once more. We are having 1, 2, 3, 4 decimal places. We are having 4 decimal places. Yeah. So, sorry. What I'm saying is that you can, we have a function that's used in SQL to reduce the number of decimal places. Probably you just want to, because remember I said once this table is created, for example down here, maybe this was an assignment that I was looking for, I've been able to extract the data. You just don't say you extracted, you're saving it. You are saving it into your computer so that probably you can print it or you can present it to someone else who asked you to extract the work. That's why we have the save button at this area. Yeah. So maybe you wanted your work to be in 2 decimal places. What you're supposed to do is use the round function to reduce the number of decimal places, and we're going to be rounding just where we use the average here. Okay, let me just copy this command from select and paste it here to edit the next other than the previous. So I'll be editing before average. I'll type a function called round. Round. Yeah, I open the brackets. You'll see it's in gray. We are having it in gray because it's an SQL keyword. Then after you have typed now the average salary, here at the end you add a comma and specify the number of decimal places that you want. Yeah, let's say we want just 2 decimal places. I'll just type 2. and then close the brackets. The brackets I'm closing is the brackets that we opened after that the keyword round. So we're having round, the average salary just the way it is, a comma, 2 decimal places, and then I close that. So that average salary will be rounded up to 2 decimal places. Okay, let me execute that. And you can see now in our output what we have is the same output we earlier had, but now the decimal places are 2. Yeah, what we have here is 2. Of course, once we have been able to use join, we can include in, for example, in our case here, we can have employee number, their first name, their last name, now the average salary, so is that it makes it the work easier to identify a specific person. But at the same time, we have the output that we are looking for. So I just minimize using, but I'm just closing results for area here down here. So I have my area back, my line of code area back. So I hope you're able to round off. You round using the function round function. Okay, yesterday I mentioned about where do we use, for example, the where function. Remember we earlier said the where function, and also is used to filter out the rest. Yeah, it works similar to the having function. For example, you can say group by employee number where salary is greater than 100,000. The difference is that where clause is not used after group by. It's not used after group by. In fact, I don't unless you're having any query whereby you want to filter out before you group by. Otherwise, you want to filter out after group by, we use the having clause. Okay, let me just execute a function whereby we are using the where clause. Remember, I've said it is not used together with the group by function. Yeah, so I'll just write a line of code. And this is how it is. I'll select yeah, I'll select all the details using asterisk. We said asterisk is for all. I'll select all from employees. That means I'm extracting from the employees table. Then I'll filter out. For example, I want to see all the details about people whose first name is, let's say, Pato. I realize that this person is in our data set. So what I'll do, I'll use the where clause. So I'm selecting all from employees where in this case first name, sorry, make sure you type the first name just it is written in our area here. So you have first name, where first name, this column here is equal to, in quotes, because it's the name of a person, you use the closing quotes, either double or single, where first name is equals to Pato, and then I close that with the brackets, then close the semicolon. So what means I'm filtering out, yes, but in this case using first name. The same case can apply, let's say, using salary. I'll select all from salaries, from salaries table, where salary is greater than, let's say, 100,000. Yeah, So what I'm trying to say is that anytime you are filtering out with the group by, use the having function. But when you're filtering otherwise, yeah, when you don't have the group by function, you can go ahead and use the where clause, because here we are filtering people's details, yeah, where their first name is. But okay, let me just run that. I run that. I'm getting the output, and when you check on the first name column, all I'm getting is Pato. All people whose first name is Pato, and we have a number of them. The same case for salary. I'm getting the output, yes, for salary, but for those outputs where by salary is greater than 100,000. Yeah, I hope that was clear. Just in case you let me know, just in case you have a question. So let's move into other function that I used. For example, you can come across a case whereby you want to extract, for example, salary. Yeah, you want to extract salary not greater than 10,000. Maybe you want salaries between 100,000 and let's say 200,000. In between, it's not greater than, but a range. Yeah, we use the function between and the and function. We earlier talked about all these functions in our first class, where we explained what the functions give, and we talked about the and function. If you are using the and function, both clauses must be true. For example, I'll use the current example here, situation we are having. I select all from employees, or okay, that will require joining. Okay, let's do this. Let me just see one name of a person here and use two names other than one. Yeah, it's there. So probably, other than getting the whole list I'm getting here, whereby I'm having all the list of people whose first name is Pato, probably I need a specific person whose name, let's say first name is Pato, and the second name and last name is something else. This is how I should write the function for that. I'll just copy this and paste it down here. What I'm doing, I'm selecting all from employees where first name is Pato, and I'll use the and function. And where first name is Pato and last name is equal to, now the second name is equal to, make sure you enclose it as well. The second name is Bamford, and you enclose it. Yeah, so we're using the and so that we can get a person whose name is Pato Bamford. Yeah, you are looking on based on two criteria: the first name and the last name. Remember, we have got a long list when we use just Pato, and since we want just one person whose name is Bamford, or maybe two of them, you go ahead and specify the condition with and. You'll get this person whose name are correct, both of them are true. So let me run that. I'm getting the output, and the output I'm getting is one person, where by the ID is 100, and this is 10,003 10003. Yeah, that's their name. That's their employee number. The name is Pato Bamford, is a male. Yeah. On the other hand, you might not be sure whether you need a person's name whose name is Pato or Bamford. You're not sure, so use the condition. Remember, we have said the AND function returns true if both of the conditions are true. Both of the conditions are true. So I'll copy this, paste it in the next line, and now use the OR function and explain it. I'll just add OR in between here. OR. This is what will happen. I'll get the output, but now if anybody's name is Pato, I'll get the output, whether their last name is Bamford or not, because we used the second function. So we get the output as far as one of the conditions are true. If someone first name is Pato, we're going to get the list. If anybody else name is Bamford, it doesn't matter whether their first name is Pato, I'll get the output. So let me run that. As you can see, we have Pato, or the list of Pato, and down here we have someone like, okay, I can't read that name, let me read this, Marble Bamford. This is not Pato, but the Bamford is there. So if either of the name is correct, then you're getting the output. That's on the OR function. Yeah. The next function I wanted to talk about is the between. I wanted to talk about the salary, whereby you want a salary in between. So between a range. So let me do that. I'll select the same command here. Let me just copy this. I'm pasting it down here, and this is what I'm doing. I select all from employees where salary, I won't use greater than. I'll use a function where salary is between. I'll use the function between. You can see the keyword here, between. Let's say I'll start with 50,000. Let's say 50,000 and let's say 100,000. So this is what will happen. I'll get the output of anybody whose salary is ranging between 50,000 and 100,000. So we're using the between, and because the between is a range, that's why we're using the AND function. Yeah, so let me execute that, and the output we are getting is salary from 60,000 is the smallest. Let me just scroll to see the highest, and the highest we are having is, the highest we are having here is 98. Yeah, 98,000, 98,150. So we are extracting output that's between a range. Yeah. Okay.
I Lucy.
Yes.
Can we zoom out? Is it zooming in or zooming out? I don't know.
You can't see my screen.
I think. Sorry.
You can't see my screen. I don't know where we are supposed to zoom. Okay, let me just check.
I actually can see yes, but it's like it's the font is so small.
Okay. So let me see. Okay, what about if I is it visible when it's beautified?
No. Okay, the font. The issue is the font. It's not the arrangement, trust me.
Okay.
The arrangement, the issue is... In fact, the previous arrangement is better than the...
Oh, okay.
It's more of...
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, let me just undo it. We undo using Control Z. So let me see. I don't know where can someone see somewhere we can zoom our screen here.
What if you're using your mouse? if you're using a mouse,
or I can just hide this
you
other.
can.
Okay, it's just the same. Ati, what do you want me to?
No, you can select. You can. I was just trying to assist. If you're using your mouse, you can select. You can tap on Control, then you pull back the roll on your mouse. You should be able to change.
Okay, let me do that. That's reducing. Yes. Thank you. Is that better?
Yeah. That font is perfect.
Okay. Thank you. So I hope you're able to run this commands whereby we've learned how to use the AND function, meaning that both of the condition must be correct to get the true outcome. For the OR, either of the conditions. If either of the condition is met, then you get the output. And then when you're looking for a range in between, I'll use the last function. When you use something, for example, if you want to have the unique output, the unique output, we use the function distinct.
A little bit, just a question before.
Yes.
Can we be able, Lucy, to use the between function together with the odd opener? Is it possible?
Okay, not really, because if you're talking about between, it means you want in between two values. Okay, unless you have what can we say? The AND function makes more sense unless you have two conditions. Maybe probably you want to see people who are lowest. Okay, let me try this. Oh, it won't make sense as well. Okay, I was trying to think of a situation whereby you want a range for the lowest in a range for the highest, or a range for the whether it's high or okay, probably the same case. When you use the OR here, between 500 or okay, you don't have anything between 5,000, 50,000. Okay, it doesn't make sense anyway. Okay, so I wanted to use the distinct function. Distinct means we're looking for something unique. You want the unique names of people, the unique names of their employee number, and so on. So use distinct. And anytime you're working with distinct, in most cases it comes after the select statement. For example, if I type select, what follows if I want to work with the distinct is the function distinct itself. So I have select distinct. Then you can go ahead and specify a condition. For example, you can have distinct all entries probably, or first name, because we have seen first name they're not distinct. We can have distinct first name from the employee number. So let me do that. First name, first underscore name from employees table. I close that and execute it. I clicked on the salary. Execute it. So now you can see a repetition of any name. So these are the unique names of people that are working in this company. These are the unique names, the unique first name. You have George, Bezarel, you have Pato, Christian, and so on. So that's for checking on unique names. You can have unique ID numbers because every employee should have a unique employee number. And so on. So that's on how we use the distinct. So after that, let's learn about the joins. We have been talking about using joins, yet we haven't learned how to use them. Okay, can we take a 10-minute break? Yes. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah, let's take a short break. We come back at 9:10. So we're having 8 minutes. 9:10 we continue on joins.